Hey guys, it's Byron here and welcome to Byron's Reviews. So you're probably wondering why we're not filming in the normal location today, and the reason for that is because where we normally film is currently being used as a set for something else I'm feeling, so I've just had to make do with filming here. And as a result, I apologise if the framing or the lighting is a bit off, but that said, let's get this video underway. So you may remember that a while ago I made a video called my top 5 Asylum filmmakers, in which I looked over my top 5 filmmakers of the low budget production company The Asylum, which I may add, The Asylum tweeted that video. But that said, there's one kind of person in the filmmaking process who I didn't really take into account when making that video, and that kind of person is the actors. The people that go in front of the camera. So today I'm going to be looking over some of my favourite Asylum actors, so I hope you enjoy. Let's start by talking about Paul Logan, an actor who, if my calculations are correct, has appeared in a total of 6 Asylum movies. He's been in films such as Megafault and Way of the Vampire, which he played Dracula in. God, I need to see that film. And he's also been in many other B movies too. He may not be the most versatile actor that the Asylum has to offer, playing that many roles with complex emotions, but the kind of roles he does play, he really excels at. Most of the roles he plays seems to fit into 2 categories, the first one being the kick-ass action hero, and the second one being the merciless bad guy. An example of him playing the action hero is when he played the lead role in Mega Piranha, playing Jason Fitch, and I found him in there to be very enjoyable. Like many other lead roles in the Asylum's filmography, such as Sharknado's Finn Shepard played by Ian Ziering, Paul Logan in Mega Piranha played the typical hyper-masculine action hero, and as a result he took any challenges that came his way like a pro. Using confident body language and a slightly monotone and stern voice, the characteristics of a badass were portrayed fantastically. And to top this all off, Logan knows martial arts and he's been the stuntsman on a lot of Asylum projects, and that has definitely helped with his performance. As for the bad guy side of things I mentioned earlier, the examples that spring to mind are 200 miles per hour and the Terminators. In 200 miles per hour, he was quite savage playing the corrupt police officer, Officer Flynn. He constantly threatened the protagonist in the film, coming across as a genuine threat in a real position of power. As for the Terminators, the fact that Paul doesn't usually play that many greatly emotional roles actually helped here, because in that film he played a robot. Well, to be precise, he played several robots. With little to no talking, his role here was to be evil, kill, and cause lots of destruction. And in this antagonistic role, he once again came across as extremely scary, and it really did feel like the odds were really stacked against the protagonists with him around. So I think it's fair to say that Paul Logan is an awesome actor, and he's provided many hours of entertainment for the Asylum. Next, I want to talk about Sean Lawler, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Lawler only starred in 2 Asylum films, 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, but he did also star in some pretty major films such as Braveheart and Titanic, just to name 2. Sticking with the Asylum side of things, however, I loved this actor just for how expressive he was. And with that great expression, he surprisingly never transcended into overacting. In 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea, for instance, he played the iconic role of Captain Nemo from the novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which this film was an adaptation of. Playing this role, he seemed very friendly and nice when introduced, but gradually and subtly became more and more evil and deranged as the film progressed. This provided such a complex and detailed performance, which was great to watch, and once again he got the balance between not overacting but being expressive so right, and I think this is just such a skillful thing for an actor to do. It must be really hard to pull off, but Sean Lawler did it. But I just want to point out that in the case of most B-movies, which Asylum films certainly are, I really don't mind overacting, and in a lot of cases I really do like overacting. But in the case of Sean Lawler, I think his performances are often a lot more sophisticated. And they're amazing to watch, and going back to 30,000 Leagues Under the Sea, just to give you an idea of how much I loved Sean Lawler's performance in it, I don't think I would have liked the film if Sean Lawler wasn't in it, but with him being in it, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. On top of this, in Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, he played one of the main characters alongside Debbie Gibson, who played Emma McNeil, and Vic Chow, who played the role of Seiji Shimada. And these three characters, to a large extent thanks to Sean Lawler, had such an amazing chemistry with one another, and they were a fantastic ensemble of actors. His character in that film was Lamar Sanders, and he just had such a warm, compassionate personality, and I think that really did aid what I talked about earlier, with the characters having such great chemistry with one another. And I think that aspect of Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus is one of the things that I liked most about the film, as you'd be able to hear if you watch my review of Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus linked in the description. It's just so sad that this amazing actor passed away just months after the release of Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, and it makes me wonder what other amazing roles he could have potentially played if he was still with us. That said, thank you Sean Lawler for the amazing films you left behind for us to remember you by. Rest in peace. Finally, we have someone who I think I'd put on the pedestal as being my favourite Asylum actor, and that person is C. Thomas Howell. Howell has appeared in 5 Asylum films, and he's also directed a few too, but today we're going to talk about the acting. The kind of roles he plays, for the most part, seems to be ones of an ordinary man trying to survive in extraordinary situations. Nothing new, I know, but the way C. Thomas Howell handles these kinds of characters is quite mesmerising. The best example of this is H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, directed by David Michael Latt, and I love this film. It's so good. Playing the role of George Herbert in an apocalyptic world as he makes his way to DC to see his wife and son, C. Thomas Howell is astoundingly likeable. The role was very emotional at times, and I believed every single one of the emotions that he portrayed. Like Sean Lawler, C. Thomas Howell had lots of subtle details in his acting, like when he gradually dipped in and out of believing in God and having faith and not having faith. And this was just a minor detail, but it just made it so much more in-depth and enjoyable. It was so interesting, and I'd like to point out that helping him with this was another great Asylum actor known as Rhett Giles. And Rhett Giles has had lots of awesome performances in Asylum films, but let's take this back to C. Thomas Howell for now. There were parts in the film where he seemed like he was about to break down and go absolutely insane, but this just made me so engaged and enthralled in the movie. An example of this in the film is when he bumps into a character who tells him that DC, the place he's trying to get to see his family, has been destroyed, and there is so much sadness that seems so genuine on his face, and it made me, the viewer, feel that sadness too when I watched it. And the audience members feeling emotion is such a big part in films, and if an actor succeeds with making you feel that emotion, then they've done their job fantastically. But in this scene, he didn't scream, he didn't shout, he just stood there with an elongated frown and staring facial expression, which I'm pretty sure has been engraved in my mind. That's how effective it was. So that was a genius performance on his part. And just to illustrate how much I enjoy C. Thomas Howell even further, I just want to compare his role of George Herbert to the role Tom Cruise played in Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds film. And here, I think C. Thomas Howell wins hands down. He was a better fit for the leading role than Tom Cruise in my opinion, and I thought he just generally played the role better. But then again, that's not to say Cruise did a bad job. I somewhat liked his performance too. So that's why I think C. Thomas Howell is a great actor. And I know I've mainly talked about War of the Worlds. He has done other stuff like The Land That Time Forgot and things like that. But if you haven't seen War of the Worlds, check it out. So good. Now before I start wrapping this video up, here are some honourable mentions for actors I don't have time to talk about today. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was initially going to be a top 5, but as I was making it, it wasn't really coming together like that. So I just decided to make it a video of me, in no particular order, talking about some Asylum actors that I personally enjoy. But if you like this kind of video, let me know and I'll try to make more. Also, what are some of your favourite Asylum actors? I'd love to hear your opinions because there's lots of Asylum actors to choose from, so be sure to post a comment down below. Hopefully we'll be back in my regular setup again next time, but until then, I will see you later. Bye!